you did, you little jerk.
But back to your question. There's laws to protect both sides. But if both sides agree, then you can connect, and a lot of them do.
Okay.
And some of them are very heartful. I mean, you sit there and you cry. It's so emotional because, and especially the ones with the heart.
Yeah.
You know, they get a heart transplant, and then you'll see them.
Hearts get all the attention.
They get all the attention,
attention,
right? And technically, it's an easier operation, but anyway. The person would say, "Oh, well, can I hear his heart?" Yes, you can.
Right.
You know. But what happened with me was I sent a letter and I waited because the process is when you're in the hospital, you'll write a postcard, you know, saying thank you for the the gift of life and appreciate, you know. But you're so messed up at that time, you know. There's no real, you know. It's like a rubber stamp.
Yeah.
So that didn't work. So I says, no, I'm going to wait. So I waited 3 years before I tried to write the letter. It took me 3 weeks to write 1 page because I kept tearing it up, or
this isn't good enough.
Yeah, or it got wet.
Yeah.
So, and then you try to keep it down. The first one I wrote was 5 pages long.
Wow.
You know, and they said, no, it has to be 1 page. He says, otherwise you're just going to bore them. Okay. So through that way. So you kind of, just for your own self, try to think, what would you say to a person that saved your life? What would you say?
It's a huge question, yeah.
It is a huge question when you take it deep. Okay? And I do. I take it very deep. You know, there's only one other person that's like that, and that's your mom.
Yeah.
You know?
That gave you life,
She
literally.
gave me life.
Yep.
Okay, so now you have to put it in that category.
Yeah.
That's heavy, huh?
Yeah,
it's very heavy.
Think about it from
they
that
put it
point
in
of
that
view,
context. It's like, can there be words, or would there be enough words?
There's never enough words that I could express myself on how grateful I am. Only thing I do is I pray through God that He give the family comfort.
Right.
And they will know the appreciation that I have for it. So also this makes a big responsibility for me to take care of it.
Right.
Okay? And appreciate it, because it is a gift. It's a very gift of life.
Yeah.
And when you look at all the circumstances that come around it, it's like winning the lotto. You know, when you look at the odds of people that go in, it's all timing.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't matter how sick you are if there isn't a liver available.
Yep.
So it's, when you start looking at all the factors and you look at both sides, what they have to do, jump through hoops just to get into the system, then you sit there and you go, oh, wow, man, thank you, God, you know, because He had to have a hand in it.
Right.
There's just no way.
That's true. And on that point, real quick, there's an old biblical saying, one of my favorites, that's if you save one life, it's as if you've saved the world. And so that's in terms of what you said, you know, about somebody else saving your life, sometimes at the expense of theirs, but that's a whole nother thing. It's, you know, it's huge.
You know,
It's huge. It's
that and
everything.
the emotional part of it, there's a lot more of emotion that goes into it. And that's why, if I didn't go through it, but if a normal person was going through the pre-op stuff, they send you to a psychiatrist.
Right.
Because it is a heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. Me,
Right.
I was out.
Yeah.
Man. And thank God, because he probably said, "Oh no, he can't handle it."
Yeah. Right.
So the process is extreme when it comes to the emotions on both sides, and so you have to respect. I respect my family that gave me, and at any time, they can write me a letter and we can get together. I left it open on my side.
Yeah, that was gonna be like my question. Well, I guess you're still finishing up your story about like if you made contact with them.
Well, what I did was I finally got my letter together, and what you can do that is okay by law is I can look at my medical record. And in my medical record is my UNOS number. My UNOS number now will tell me where it came from.
Aha. What region? Okay.
What region? See, mine came from San Diego.
Okay. So it's in the same
From the
region.
organization
Still
down
the medical
there.
region 9.
Yeah,
Which is California, Nevada,
Right.
Hawaii, and something else, but yeah.
And then there's different other organ groups that are out there besides One Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I got mine from the group down in San Diego.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so they got the liver and then sent it up here for me. So I knew that. So then I had two things I knew. I knew where it came from, and then on there also has the coordinator
Mm-hmm.
down.
Okay. Down
Okay.
San Diego. Yeah.
So I did
Just
something that she's never seen before. I called her up and I said, hello. And so at first she kind of panicked because she didn't want to break any laws. or
Right.
anything,
So you're kind
Confidentiality.
of going, or like, kind of going around the law.
You're
just
a bit of a
little
detective.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't.
No,
I
no,
did
no.
not go around the law. I did everything
You're
that I
just doing
can
some sleuthing,
within the law.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You just,
But
went,
normally-
you just went a different route than
I just
most
went a
people.
different route than the rest because the rest won't do it. You see? And I wanted to make sure they got the letter. Okay? Because, see, I could send it to my coordinator, and she would send it downtown. And I'm not saying anybody would do anything different or whatever, but when they know that the person has rejected, then that's where it stands. But see, I didn't want to be that part. I wanted her to ask if she would receive my letter.
Gotcha.
See?
Use the
That's-
mailman, yeah.
So I used the mailman, okay? So I have to send it to the coordinator because I don't know their address.
Right.
Okay? And so then I asked her, I says, well, can you ask if they'll receive my letter? And she says, yeah, I can do that. So she calls me back in about 4 days and says, yes, they said they could read your letter. They did. And at this time, no. So then it's kind of like she didn't cheat, but she just gave a little bit of a hint. And she says, not all transplants are clean. So that means to tell me most likely it was a suicide. It was drug overdose or something of that.
Gotcha. Right.
So it was something that was really hard.
Yeah, on the family.
Especially on them, yeah.
Yeah, on them.
On the right.
And so they just don't.
That explains why they're hesitant to meet the
So
recipient.
they, yeah. So then
It's reasonable, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. And so then I says, well, it's just an open invitation. If they ever want to know, I says I'm open to it.
Yeah.
So there has been cases in the past where it's been 8-9 years down the road, and then the person gets a letter.
Family decides
It
they're
does
ready.
happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then it happens sometimes 2 months later.
Yeah.
You know, so it varies, but it takes both parties to know.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate it. That's
There's a lot of
quite a process, yeah, which
Yeah.
makes sense for medical confidentiality and also the emotional state of both the donator's family and the recipient. So that makes sense that it's such a, complex process. I guess it has to be.
Is that where it stayed with them, or did you ever end up making contact?
No,
with that
see
family?
that I'm looking and I'm giving them several years now, and then what I'll do is I'll write another letter and talk to the coordinator
So, but as
to
of right
have
now,
her check and see if it's possible now.
yeah,
Let them heal. A little
yeah,
bit.
True. Well, yeah, it is still.
Well,
pretty
it's very
fresh.
emotional on the other side, and
Yeah.
that's why one of the things that we do as an ambassador is we encourage people to register to be a donor. And the reason is because it's a hard time when you're losing a loved one. And then to make these decisions at the time is difficult, very difficult.
Right.
And some people will say, well, I don't know if he wanted to do that.
Right. When you're making
You know,
it
when
on behalf of a loved one who's
and the
passed away,
process
unfortunately.
before that can happen is so complicated. I mean, it's like the people will say, well, I don't want to be registered because they won't save my life.
People think it equals
People
a
think-
DNR, a do not
Right,
resuscitate
right.
They have
measure.
like that fear where it's like, the people are so desperate for
And I
organs that,
assume,
Yeah.
right.
like it come go in for like any little thing.
I
and
assume
then
those
you'll
two things
automatically,
are very
register.
mutually exclusive, that it has nothing to do with the DNR request, that
No.
you are safe to register as a
Oh.
donor, correct?
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
And
that's a good thing. That's an
when-
important thing to know.
See, and one of
Very
the
important
things
thing.
I did was when I was
This guy
going
knows.
through my training was I wanted to know the full process on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
Okay. I know the process on my side pretty well.
You lived
I
through
was
it. Yeah,
there,
right.
you know, some of it.
Right.
He had a little house.
Yeah,
He had a
yeah.
house there.
But the other side of it is all, different and very different.
So tell us a little about the process of how would I, for example, if I wanted to register as a donor, how would I go about that?
There's two ways to do it. And one of the things that we've been fighting for years with the state, which is finally now a law that went into effect, I think, last year, and that is the pink dot on your driver's license.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Right, the donor dot.
The
yes.
donor dot. Okay, well now, when you fill out your paperwork to even renew your
Yeah.
license, which
You can check that box.
it has to be checked
Oh, it's
by law. It's
Okay.
mandatory. You have to say yes or no.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can't just skip it
You can't. Okay. Okay.
by law.
Right.
So no matter if you're in the station
Yeah.
or if you're here doing it through the computer, it won't let you finish the form until you answer that question.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
And then that's up to you if you want to be a donor.
Right, but
or
it
not.
at least turns people onto it. And usually, sometimes, but usually that's all it takes.
Well, a lot
is
of see, it's-
somebody to.
Well, here's the question, and I asked this to a guy that didn't have a pink dot, never had a pink dot. And I said to him, I says, have you ever noticed that question on your driver's license test? No. See?
Yeah.
And that's
that-
why we push to have it mandatory,
Yeah.
because you're going to take the test and all this other, you're only going to fill out what you have to fill
Right.
out. And so then they don't
There's a
even
bunch
look.
of junk. Would you like
Right.
to donate to any one of these dozen
Right,
organizations?
yeah,
exactly.
You give them a glance
wanna
at
mix-
best.
Yeah, give me
but-
$1 for donation for this or
Right,
that. Yeah.
but
It's
really,
all
you
there.
skip through those, yeah.
Yeah, so finally, we got it as a state law that you have to answer that question, either yes or no. And again, that's your decision. Now, that's one way of doing it. You can do it from your renewal or do it when you first sign up.
Right.
Okay. The other way you can do it is directly through the internet, which is donatecalifornia.org. And we'll leave some information on this, the tape here to let you know the information.
You can see the website as we put it
Yeah.
up on the screen
I'll put
here.
it in the
Yeah.
description. I'll put it like right here.
Yeah. Because it's very important for you to make a decision on it. And the thing is one person donating can help over 50 people in their life.
Because of all the different organs
The
and
different
things
organs,
they can
and we're
take.
also we're also talking about skin and tissue
Gotcha. For
Okay.
research
And
purposes,
and
you're talking
corneas.
about
and
yes.
corneas.
Right.
You know, now they're able to make a blind man see at
Yeah.
times. You know, under the right
And
circumstances.
medical
Oh,
technology is
I
amazing.
thought like, they take optic nerve too.
Well, it may be that he's blind, but he's not blind because of the nerve. He's blind because of something else.
Remember, you know,
true.
if you've ever taken a college biology class, they teach you just for the eye. These are just the parts of the eye. The acronym
Yeah.
is caterpillar, which the caterpillar, and it's let's see if I can remember this from 10 years ago. But it's basically cornea, iris, lens. I'm missing one, and then the retina because there are 5 of them.
Right.
It's not CATI, but it's like C. I was missing the T, and then IPL. R.
There's
Those are the
many,
those are the 5
there's
parts
many
of the eye.
different types of cases where from either disease or injury or other things where they've been able to give a person an eye or the cornea and they're able to see again. Besides, one of the big demands that a lot of people don't know is tissue, skin. Okay.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because
Burn
victims
the people
need
who get
skin back.
who get like
Right.
face transplants, you know,
Right.
they take the
Yeah, that's
face of somebody.
amazing what
Yeah,
they can
that's-
do.
Seriously.
And
Yeah,
then
show
one of
Like
the
face
other
off.
Not exactly like face off, but
and one of the other ones that's becoming quite common that people don't know, and that's knee replacement.
Oh yeah.
They'll
these
use
are-
a cartridge of a cadaver
yeah.
and replace the part that they need to replace. So there's many things that are happening in the same situation.
Yeah. Not necessarily just organs, but like
Not
even,
just
like,
organs, but see, if you become a donor, which I did, and I didn't give any speculation on what they could have or not. I said, here, anything that works, you can have it. Okay, so then if they can use my skin, they're going to use my skin. If they can use anything that they can use, they're going to use. Okay, if they can't use it, then okay, it'll go to science.
Yeah.
It'll end up in your science class.
Right.
Mhm.
Hey, I'll be the skeleton in
Yeah.
future generations.